Wow. Okay. Huh. You cereal? Welcome to some quick notes about Dark Souls 3, and obviously I'm going to be talking about Dark Souls, just some quick notes that I have about the game, and just kind of a personal reflection on the game itself. Now, at the beginning of these videos, I do like to talk about like context and just kind of answer some questions that you guys might have, just to kind of knock that out of the way first. So all the clips that you're seeing are actually from New Game Plus. I had just finished my playthrough, and I'm just kind of messing around, seeing how far I can go before the damage curve really just kind of catches up to me. This is not the first time that I have ever played Dark Souls 3. This is the first time that I've actually played it all the way through. And on that note, Dark Souls 3 will always kind of have a special place in my heart because that was actually the first Dark Souls game that I ever played. And up until recently, I've never played all the way through it, haven't played all the other Dark Souls FromSoft games, but Dark Souls 3 will always be a little bit more special to me for that specific reason. I did a strength build, as you may be able to guess from the clips that you're seeing. At the end of my last playthrough, I didn't link the fire, and one just quick little side note, I did want to say that I will not be comparing all the Dark Souls games or all the FromSoft games in this video. I might do it in a different video, but I'll save that for later. So on to the quick notes section of this video. As you can imagine, this Dark Souls 3 is kind of similar to all the other Dark Souls games, but specifically, all the gameplay is quick and tight. I mean, at this point, I would assume that FromSoft knows what they're doing with their Dark Souls games specifically. I did kind of mess around with a pyro build and a sorcerer build. Didn't really get too far into it. I was just kind of playing around, seeing if I wanted to do a full run as those builds. So I didn't really play around with the magic too much, so I'm not really the best person to comment on stuff like that. But the little bit that I did play with them, they were fun. They were interesting, and I'll touch on that a little bit later. In my humble opinion, I think all, if not most of the bosses were fun and challenging. There are two that really kind of stick out, maybe even three almost, I would say. First is Pontiff. He was the biggest roadblock that I had to overcome, probably in all of Dark Souls 3. I know some people take issue with Yorm because he's kind of like a gimmick fight, and while I do understand what they're saying from my perspective, it was still fun. It was still a fun boss fight. While it was kind of a gimmick fight because you have to get that sword and all that stuff, it was still fun to be able to have a fight like that. And one that I actually just thought of off the top of my head, it was that dragon in I forget the name of the place, but it's where you fight the Nameless King. That area of the game, that dragon that appears that you have to essentially just do the plunge attack and you can one-shot him. I know that people hate that, like they say it's the worst boss in the game, which at that point I wouldn't even really consider him a boss, just because you just have to know that you have to run around and then do the plunge attack. So I don't know. I don't know if he's a quote unquote boss, but I can understand where people are coming from in terms of not liking that. And I get it, but it was all right. I suppose that was the only that was like the only boss that kind of I take issue with. Other than that, nothing really to complain about in terms of the game itself. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, all the Dark Souls games are very similar to one another. Obviously, mechanics are shifted, changed, tweaked throughout all the games, and Dark Souls 3 is probably the culmination of all the FromSoft games that they've made, including Bloodborne and obviously the other previous Dark Souls games. So nothing to really complain about. Obviously, we just got done talking about the bosses, which there's some varying opinions on that. But also, it's just a Dark Souls game. Obviously, there were frustrating times during the game itself, but I didn't run into any glitches or anything like that. It was really just kind of more, I was going to say, not taking responsibility for my own deaths, but nothing, no major glitches, and nothing felt, I guess, unfair, while, yes, still super frustrating, not unfair kind of difficulty. And to kind of just wrap up all of this, I wanted to just highlight some points while I was reflecting on the game and just working on this video. Just some kind of more personal thoughts that don't really come from talking about the game's points itself, just almost my experiences with the game. And overall, just honestly, so much fun. If you have seen my other reviews or quick notes on all the Dark Souls games, I pretty much did melee strength build for every single one of them. Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2, and now Dark Souls 3. And the damage output that I was getting at the end of the game with the Black Knight Great Axe, a little ridiculous. Even the bosses, I was like chunking their health. It was honestly just a lot of fun just to see how much damage I was doing towards the end of the game. And as I kind of touched on earlier, I did play with the Pyro build and the Sorcerer build. Not terrible, but I guess my feelings towards it are they're not really my play style, because it just kind of takes such a shift in mindset for me that I don't know if they are really the way that I would want to play that game, like any of the Dark Souls games. But I might have to go back and actually give it more of a try just to see if I just didn't dedicate enough time to it and like shifting my mindset while playing the game. Something else that kind of came up for this game as I was playing through is about halfway through I started streaming the game, and honestly it was a lot of fun. I met a couple of new people I would consider friends, and I love seeing them to stream, and I love having them and just kind of chatting with them. And along with that, me streaming, I've been putting out shorts, and I guess I kind of hate to use this term, but content creator, I have seen a good amount of success compared to before, and whether that's because of Dark Souls 3 specifically or just because I changed my plan for the content that I am putting out there. I saw a decent amount of success, and I think part of it I have to attribute to Dark Souls itself, and it was just a lot of fun engaging with the community, talking and commenting and all that kind of stuff. And I just wanted to say, if you are watching this and you commented on any of the videos or streamed or anything like that, thank you so much. I really appreciated it. And just kind of another side note, which I guess I almost should have put in the first part, but I'm pretty sure I defeated all of the bosses in the base game. I was kind of scrolling through the list the other day, and I was just kind of like, I think I hit up all of those bosses, but I guess I should have paid more attention because I don't know specifically. And also, a footnote to that is I did not actually play any of the DLC. Well, I played a little bit of the DLC for, I want to say it was the Painted World, whatever the like snow environment is. I played a little bit of that, but I kind of did it after I played kind of past that area, and I don't know if I was supposed to go to it earlier or if it's still like an end game DLC kind of thing. But I got frustrated, and I really just wanted to like finish off the game because I went there before I encountered the final boss, and I was just like, well, maybe I'll go check it out. Kind of got annoyed and then just left it at that. But just kind of wrapping all of this up, I want to say thanks if you've stuck around for the whole time through this whole video. I definitely appreciate it. I would ask that you consider commenting, liking, subscribing, all that good stuff. And if you do subscribe, remember to ring that little bell so you know when I either post my next video or my short or when I stream, because I would love to have you guys there. But with all of that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.